Okay, so you can see how the hole is off a little bit there, about a 1/16 of an inch. So we need to grow that a little bit. So we're going to grow that thing a little bit. Basically you have to cut it off and move it up, so how you're going to do it. It's about 1/8 thou too short. Now this side down here can be slotted. We can bring it up higher, but I don't know if there's any material down there to do that with. More likely going to be cutting the end of it off and move it up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and try to get this off. See if it'll come off. We have low access to hardware right now. Okay, I cannot unscrew that there. It does not surprise me any. Okay, I got the box wrench in there on there. So it's on the nut right now. It'll hit up against the carburetor when it rotates. Now you go on the other side and unscrew the other side. So, 1/2 inch socket and extension. So we'll go over here and undo this socket right there. You can also use a combination wrench to do that instead of a ratchet. We have good access here. I can just use my wrench. I heard the other wrench fall off over there. There it goes. Use a socket, you can get in here too if the shifter's not in the way. In this case, the shifter's kind of in the way. Okay, now if you beat the stud out, you should have room. Now on a big bore motor, you can't pull that stud. On a standard bore motor, you can. So this is a standard bore, so you should be able to just poke it right out. So just take a drift punch and a hammer, just kind of knock it out a little bit. Make sure nothing's jamming up on the other side. Just keep beating on it. You could be breaking stuff over here. See, these things will jam up on you like this one is right now. So right now the camera quit screwing me. Stupid camera. Yeah, whatever, I'll go back. Alright, so right now the bracket's too far out and it's binding. So I gotta basically push the stud back in. And not go out so far this time. Just a tight squeeze on there. It's a very tight fit on the stud, or it's double jam nutted. Looks like it's double nutted. It's going to make it more difficult to get out. Way more difficult. If you get out past the lifter block bolts, then you got access to do some stuff. Right now it's kind of fighting me a little bit. So things are harder than what they were. So we got off easy earlier, now it's fighting us. The problem is this nut here is jammed on the nut behind it. And you can't get to that nut because the lifter block screw is in the way behind that one. So we usually don't double nut them. Makes it really difficult to do anything if you do. There's no real reason to do that. Usually I'll put a spacer behind the nut if I need it. this one's going to be the same problem. You can't, it's tight. I don't have any room to do this. Carburetor's in the way too. Everything's in the way. Can't get it to free, and it looks like there's a lock washer on there too, which makes it double hard. If I move the bracket forward, there might be enough room for it to rotate a little bit. Try to do that. Not happening. Bike off the racks, working though. Alright, everything is jammed pretty hard right now. Push it back in. Okay. Try to rotate that up a little bit if I can. And that's a lot easier to move. Tap it out a little bit, go back and forth and try to get the clamp, get the bracket out behind the head and the carburetor at once. Get the old tire iron out, come in handy again. There it goes. Okay. All right, and the bracket's out further. Still don't have access to get to the bolt very well. I'll keep coming out further. It's almost easier to take the carburetor off again, but not quite. On my box wrench, should go unscrew this, break the nut free now, get access to it. Yep. And the whole bolt's turning. I'm holding the other nut in the back side of my fingers, trying to keep from rotating. Once the lock washer comes undone, it'll be easier. There we go. What a pain in the butt. There, it's out. So if I slot this out a long ways and add a little bit more, we might just have enough room to do what we need to do. Mainly slot the bottom out quite a bit. Oh, this does come out. And instead of double nutting it, I'm going to screw this nut all the way down, and we'll put a washer behind here to move the bracket out so it doesn't hit on the side of the cylinder down there. Should work better. So you have to have a little bit of space here because the case is below the deck, below what the cylinder is sticking out. So you have to have some kind of a washer sticking out. I don't want to do the nut again because I don't have access to tighten the nut. So that makes it very hard to do. Got a lot of silicone on here too, or whatever the hell that junk is. Alright, so that is the plan. Let's crop off of here. Okay, so I need to slot this hole out. I don't really have access to my vise very much yet, so I have to do something about that. What are we going to do about that? Well, I wanted to put a vise right here to work. There's a vise over here that's kind of hard to get to right now. There's a vise laying down here on the floor, so I'm looking for that washer. Yeah, there's a couple of them down here. Yeah, so which one do we want up here? 1 and 2. I'm not sure we're going to hold it down though. Clamps. Tripod's out of the way. Like I said, nothing's set up yet, so it's hard to do anything around here. Alright, so we have this vise, or we have this vise. Which one's going to be better for us? Looks like they're both about the same width. This was my welding vise. This was my valve spring compression vise. So let's use this one on the workbench here. If you tighten the jaw down, you can pick it up without having issues. Don't get your fingers caught in there. Yeah, it's heavy. Okay. There we go. So there's 2 big clamps going around here to hold it. And it'll be on the way a little bit, but shouldn't be too awful bad. Ah, the tripod on the floor. How'd that happen? Okay, now I had clamps in big box. One of them was over here. Yep, what I'm looking for right here. A nice heavy one. Smaller ones here. This is in there. Junk. Alright. Tripod in the way again. I don't like putting holes in my workbenches. You wind up with nothing but holes. But you're making a bunch of noise out at the restaurant. Must be crappy karaoke night. See how long before YouTube comes and tags me for video noise. Alright, so we're just going to use 2 clamps to hold this down with. Okay, I ran out of room on this clamp. I need about 1 inch of compression on that. Got this one here. Just want a bigger screw on it so it should go further. When you clamp your vise down like this, you can't really get super carried away with doing stuff on them, but you can get after a little bit, especially if you got a nice heavy-duty clamp like that. Okay, but I'm going to have to get me a piece of metal to go between it and the workbench. Just out and over, here's a piece. Resembles that. too long to get in there, but there it goes. Made it. Alright. This clamp needs to be first. It's got a longer handle on it. Fight it more. Belongs. Keep it all the way in. There we go. There's the lever to it. That sucks, it sticks out where I don't want it. Shin bender. So I can go a little bit further so I can get it out of the way. So I need a little leverage on there. A little leverage. A little grunt to it here. Bending my bar a little bit. There it goes. Nope, not quite. Definitely bending it. There we go. So there's a shorter handle on it. A lot looser. All right. One good vise. I didn't put it on straight though. Oh well. That's going to really piss me off. I'll hit it with a big ass hammer and it'll move over. Okay, now I've got a vise. Okay, we're going to work on the bracket now. Not exactly my fabrication area here, so. Okay, so we now slot this hole out a little bit bigger. So we need to go up with the hole. I don't really have my grinders laying around here easy to get to, but I think I kind of know where they're at. But we can use a file too. Yeah, here's somebody using my big file. So much for that plan. Yeah, it's always nice when everything's missing. I know what box it's in too, and I think it's up in the mountains.